Okay, and welcome back. Here's segment 2, talking about coronavirus response. So now, as they do the quarantines wherever you live, I'm here in Brazil, and right, I guess there's been contact between the Brazilian government and the Trump government, and all that kind of stuff. And down here, it's a right-wing government, and not only that, it's beyond that. It's an extremist president who is showed disregard, sort of reckless disregard for medical concerns and among other issues. So, at any rate, wherever you are, Italy, Germany, United States, take care of yourself. So, but let's get into the psychosomatic medicine perspective and the spiritual life perspective to overcome the kind of the artificial barriers that are presented by the modern materialistic secularist mainstream view that prevails in the media and in other evaluations and academic evaluations. So, I wanted to start with a study by and the work of Dr. Gail Ironson. She's an MD in Miami, at the University of Miami, trained at Stanford, University of Wisconsin, and Miami, and has been doing studies on, let's see, there's at least one that has to do with primarily HIV. HIV patients and those diagnosed with HIV. So, and she's also done, I was looking up some of her papers, she's done papers with a few other people, including Neil Krauss, who I had also just seen mentioned with reference to a Harvard Medical School symposium, though he is based at the University of Michigan. So, Gail Ironson's work, in this case, I've gotten from a source in which she was interviewed about one of her patients, Sherry Kaplan, diagnosed with HIV back in the 1990s, 1994 I think, and at around in her 20s, in her maybe 29, and so she is Jewish, but had this when she was diagnosed and surprised and shocked with this diagnosis of HIV at that time. That was still before there were any medications, any HIV retroviral type medications, and her attitude was spunky, was positive and life affirming. And so, but it also, then she entered into the spiritual angle, and so she prays and meditates every day and has been visiting Dr. Ironson every 6 months or so, for 12 years at one point, and 15 years at the 2009 article that I originally got this from, and has shown no signs of the disease. And so Dr. Ironson, Gail Ironson, has been measuring the viral loads and the CD4 white cell counts of various patients, including Sherry Kaplan. Now, but with Sherry Kaplan having beliefs in God, in reincarnation, in prayer meditation, and in particular a loving approach, and opposed to people who might feel abandoned by God, the situation that Dr. Ironson was finding is 4 times, right? She was finding a difference of some 4 times in the load, 4.5 times. People who felt abandoned by God after their diagnosis of HIV lost their CD4 cells at a rate 4.5 times faster than people who relied on God to cope with the diagnosis, and their viral load increased. So that is one angle of it. And then we have in Sherry Kaplan's case that she has never taken medication. There it is, right? She has been addressing whatever the psychospiritual elements and factors and components could be identified as, particularly in terms of, I've looked at some of Ironson's papers. They involve the image of God. Is God benevolent or not? How do you feel in relationship to God, abandoned or embraced by God? Forgiveness, self-forgiveness, and so it's interesting to look at the issues that Dr. Ironson is looking at. Okay, end of this segment. See you in a moment.